Our field, are you running around town or maybe to a lot of online networking events, trying to find your next client, your next prospect and whatnot? And that can be very time consuming and costly in the end too, and it's not really easy. And then you're throwing things up on social media in hopes that somebody sees it and they really like you, and they'll pick up the phone and call you or schedule a call with you. Well, you know what? Now I'm thinking too, if you have a website, I'm thinking you invested in that so that your potential customers can find you, but then also learn about you and how you are the expert. And it's more than just a well-designed website, I'm afraid to say. This is where blogging comes in. I'm happy to have with me today on Make It Click my guest, Lee O'Leary, who is a small business writing specialist. So, we're going to be talking about blogging today and why it's so important for you and your business. Welcome to the show, Lee. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
So, Lee, before we get into blogging specific,
Mhm.
I'd like to just take a moment to talk about the content marketing, that term. I think some people might misinterpret it or just get scared by it. Could you help us to understand what content marketing involves? What types of content are we talking with that?
Right. So, yeah, content is kind of anything that you're putting out about your business. Um, and marketing, the content marketing term is really how you're being found online. So we typically think mostly about Google searches and searching for a product, a service, something like that on Google. And really, your content marketing is all the components that make you the most findable online.
Mm. And it's having a plan to do that also. It's not just, "Oh, it's Wednesday. I think I'll throw something out there."
Yeah, yeah, it really planning is key to content marketing. I think it's easy to look at the internet and think that people are just sort of posting and adding content at their whims and waking up one morning and thinking up wonderful ideas, and it's really not that at all. There is a lot of strategy behind content marketing and kind of bringing that to fruition and theming things around how your week, your month, your year is going to go, and making sure that all those components kind of support one another, because that makes all of your marketing more efficient. If you kind of have streamlined messaging and plans and a strategy in place, then it makes everything you do, even the spontaneous, make more sense and easier to come up with.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's get into the blogging. What is blogging?
Mhm.
Maybe there's a little misinterpretation of that also, but then what is the purpose of blogging?
Right. So, yeah, blogging, some people still think of it as sort of that online journal, that very personal writing. Other people might associate it with recipes and food blogging, and those are all those are all valid things that we do with blogs. But for a small business owner, blogging is a way to maximize the real estate that you have on your website to use. So your website itself, all the main pages are going to be kind of tight and clean, and you really need to use keywords. That again, your content strategy. That is what helps people find you on Google when they search. When they search for the thing that you do, you want to be up near the top of what they're going to find in their area. And so your website only has so much room for you to repeat those keywords, those words that people would be searching, um, because you can't just fill your website with words and words and words. It needs to be quick and easy to read and easy to have those calls to action. But a blog is where you can really take your ideas and flesh them out and show people how you're an expert in your field, that you know what you know, that you have something of value to offer them. That all happens in a blog. And then that blog itself is using those keywords in really natural writing, so that when somebody is searching those terms, your content with value starts rising up to the top of that Google search. And then somebody clicks on it and they read it, and oh, hey, that helped me. And now you've started building a relationship with your customers.
Mm.
So blogging is really it can be a really powerful resource.
Yeah, it's interesting and I'm glad you mentioned about the website and what constitutes the main part of the website, but then also then you have the blog part of it. Because when you Google blog and website, it is bringing you to two different things of like, a blog is kind of like that site, like you were saying, somebody that just wants to write some interesting stuff and have recipes and whatnot, but they kind of make it still kind of two separate locations, where in what we're talking about today is this is on your website
Hmm.
to help people find you more.
Yes.
And it's interesting. The other day, I was in a conversation in a small group, and someone brought up about they have a blog, and we were talking about email in particular. And she's like, "Well, what do you do? Do you have a newsletter or do you have a blog?" And I was like, "Well, but your blog is part of your email content too." Which
Hmm.
it's like again, people, all these terms being thrown about and not sure what things mean and what to do with it. But besides the website, that blog that you're talking about is also for your email marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, it really is. And I agree with you about that, things have all kinds of terms associated with them. And that's one thing I like about the small business space is I don't care what you call it. I'm just going to help you figure out what you need. So I don't get hung up on all of the terminology about, what do we call this particular piece of content or this particular kind of writing. It's the thing that you need that's going to help you as a small business owner. And that's what we care about. So, yes, your blog can be a huge part of your newsletter, your email marketing, your print marketing. I have a client where we print the blog onto a newsletter, and that goes out in the mail. And people can come on her website to share that blog. But hey, they have a nice printed piece of mail to read that little article each month. So that's one way we use that, taking it completely offline. But yes, it can go out in your blog. I'm sorry, in your email marketing. Also, you can be building your social media posts out of what you blogged about, whether that is pulling direct quotes out of it or just taking a topic, a certain term that you talked about in the blog and defining it in a social media post. So it gives you less to think about, to build your social media platform and month of posting or what have you, um, because you've already written this blog, you've already put in this time to build this piece of content, and now you can use that in multiple ways.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned about pulling things out and putting it on social media. Okay, you write one article and there are so many different places that you could be using it.
Hmm.
And again, it brings continuity to your business too. So okay, let's go into some real specifics about blog. Okay, what is the current magic number of words that's recommended for a blog?
um, There is no magic word count. I'm sure you could search it and find many experts to tell you. Long form blogging is good for Google. Long form blogging, because Google's bots are kind of, their crawlers are reading your blog, and so they want to see some quality content. They want to know that you kind of are putting some effort. They want to know that humans wrote what you're writing, and so they kind of feel those 600 and 900 word blogs, or even 1,000 words and up, those blogs give a lot of information. They are content rich. And the idea is that they keep people on your website for a little bit longer. They are providing value. They are giving people fewer reasons to click away from one static page, but rather spend quality time on a single page. So what some owners will do is build maybe one really full long form content blog that's kind of the house. It's your complete guide to, or everything you needed to know about XYZ. And then maybe your shorter blogs that are about 400 to 600 words kind of refer back to that big treasure trove blog, that kind of flagship piece. Those smaller pieces may go back to that pretty often to kind of point people to more robust information. So a 400 to 600 word blog is really great. A 600 plus word blog is also really great. As far as writing convention goes, think skimmable, short paragraphs, good writing, but short paragraphs. And so make sure that people kind of keep in mind that people are going to be kind of reading quickly. They're going to be looking for helpful information, but not reading everything super closely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm a skimmer. It's like
Yeah.
if I'm searching for something and then I find an article, it's like I want to skim it and find that information I was looking for. Now, sometimes maybe I will stop and say, you know what, this whole thing is really good, so let me
Mhm.
read it. But yes, there's something to how you're constructing it. And in that construction, what about images? Is that important or not?
Images are very important, but images are very difficult because you really have to be very careful about copyright and using images legally. You can't just go grab something you like off of Google. So I recommend that you have a Shutterstock account, or, I mean, really your best practice is to hire a corporate photographer to come and build you your own image library of pictures that you love, that really reflect your business, and that now you own and you can use, and they aren't going to be the same picture that you'll find on every single website in your industry, which, we all there's a few pictures out there that we've all come to recognize pretty well as certain stock photography, and that's okay. We all get it. But, my recommendation is that you work with a photographer or graphic designer to build your own library, so that you just have more of more continuity to your image, to your brand.
Yeah, and it's all about originality.
Hmm.
The search engines like the original
Yeah.
content that's not found anywhere else. And when we're trying to be the expert, well, we are unique, so everything about us should be unique, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for our listeners, here's the big question. But how do I get started? How do where do I get the ideas from to write blog articles?
The ideas are, first of all, think about, like, where do you have your best ideas? Make sure that there's somewhere near there that you can write things down, whether it's a notepad by your bedside, or your, and the note taking function in your phone or something like that. Make sure that you can actually track your own ideas. Great blog starters are to use your keywords. What are the keywords that people are searching for your industry? Look them up, make sure you know what they are, and now write a blog around one. Define that term, or say, sometimes it is like, what does this word mean? Or what is the difference between these two words? Or another one is kind of a, before you do X, here's what you need to know. Or Y happened, now what do I do? So those kinds of blogs where you're kind of giving some kind of advice. If you're in a profession where you can't give advice, then you just kind of talk about best steps to take, or things that you need to know for a certain situation. A DIY, do it yourself, is always a really good blog topic. And people think, well, I don't want to give away my trade secrets. You're not. You're you're not giving them anything that they couldn't find on another person's website as well. You're usually teaching them how to do something, a simplified version of what you do. And they're going to read that and they're going to think about trying it. And they're going to procrastinate long enough that they decide, you know what, I'm going to hire them to do it. They were so good at teaching me that I'm going to hire them to do it. So those are some really good just blog starters, to kind of start making notes. The other one is a case study. How did you actually solve a problem? And now describe how you solved that problem. Lay out the problem, how that person came to you, what steps you took, what questions you asked, how you determined what they needed, and then what you did, the action you took, and then the results. So case studies are a great blog topic. You can write blogs off of your testimonials. That's another way of kind of doing the case study, but saying like, this is this is what I bring to the table in my business. And this testimonial reflects that, and just kind of expound on that, on how what that person wrote about your business is exactly what you're trying to do for everybody.
Well, that was a lot of starters there. That was wonderful, Lee. Thank you for that. I'm just curious, though, about different industries. Is there any industry or type of business that you really don't see blogging being done, that it doesn't work for? Or does it really work for every industry?
I would say it is more likely a personality and business style kind of thing rather than an industry. So I think it really comes down to how that business is being marketed, what the values of maybe the owner or the key employees are. And then you can kind of blog about anything. I have done blogs in packaging and manufacturing, the beauty industry, all that stuff. You can blog about it. I think it really comes down to what your personal marketing strategy is, and whether or not you feel that blogs are a type of content that fits your business model, your goals for business. We see a lot of video, and for some people, they're never going to write a single word, but they are going to make a video every day. And that's okay. That's still content.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Well, Lee, listen, this has been a treasure trove of great information for our listeners. If someone wants to get a hold of you, stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
Well, I'm online at sculptededitorial.com. They can email me, leah@sculptededitorial.com. And mostly I'm in Montgomery County, so you can find me at a lot of different networking events. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can look me up, Leah O'Leary, on LinkedIn. And I think that's, I try to be findable.
Well, I do have one more question for you, though. Don't have to, take a lot of time on this one. But when you think about your business, is there something that comes to mind that you can say that's what made it click for me in building my business? Maybe it's something that you learned. Maybe there's a technology that you particularly care for, but is there anything that comes to mind you'd like to share with the audience?
So what really made it click for me is when I realized that my writing skills are a natural talent. I stand behind that, and I'm a good writer. But what I really objectively realized is I am very good at hearing what makes people amazing, what they really believe in. I can hear your superpower by the conversation we're having. And then I can kind of draw that out of you. I can reflect that back to you, and I can write about it. And so what I usually hear from people is, it's like you're reading my mind, or that's exactly what I meant, I just didn't know how to say it, or these are exactly the ideas I'm trying to put forward, thank you so much for being my sounding board. So that would be really what made me realize what set me apart as a business owner, and who I serve, which is that kind of that business owner who's really their heart and soul is all the way in their business. And so that's really what helped me. As far as technology, I would say that embracing Zoom over the pandemic was a big game changer for me. I realized how comfortable I am in this environment where I can type on my own computer while we talk. And really, I can still connect really well with people over Zoom, and not have to take that time to travel as much. So that has really opened up my ability to connect with people.
Well, thank you so much, Leah, for being my guest today on Make It Click. This has been wonderful.